Hello and welcome along to A View from Section C, episode 31 this week. Larzo, how's your week been?
It's been good. It's
Yeah,
been busy as usual. Work's been
as
busy,
as
uh,
usual.
as usual. However, work aside, this is the one I've been waiting for.
Oh, this is the
You
one.
know it is.
Um,
This is the
we
one.
we've heard that I had to speak to our special guest during the week and say that we've had so many people around the rink just asking, when is this guy coming on? When is this? So we have it this week. This has been one that we're building up for. Probably a little introduction for this guy. Me personally, the best goalie we've ever had, best netminder we've ever had in Stars history.
Totally
A,
agree.
a fifth round draft pick by the Philadelphia Flyers. We'll try not to speak about Flyers too much on this podcast.
No,
Obviously,
definitely
the
not.
connections across the water. But yeah, I've been really looking forward to this guy. And it is none other than Nick Riopel.
Hey guys, how are you?
Not
Hey,
bad,
Nick.
Nick. How are you?
Really good. I'm really glad that you guys invited me. Always looking forward to speak about my time as a Dundee Stars.
Marvelous.
Yes, no, we are more than happy to have you here.
Yeah.
As I say, we've had so many fans asking us when you were going to be coming on the show after we spoke to Bo a few weeks back. And they're like,
Yeah,
when's Nick? When's Nick? And I'm like, he's going to be soon. Trust me, it
yeah,
will happen.
yeah, exactly.
Um,
I had the chance to listen to his interview, and I'm glad he said a few nice things about me. So.
yeah, he was very complimentary, and
Yeah.
as I say, as I said in the introduction there, we've always felt that you were the best goalie we've ever seen in a Dundee jersey, and you were the ultimate professional for us. One of the only guys we've ever seen do their cool down after a game. You'd be running up and down stairs after games and really looking after yourself. You're the only guy, and even now, I've still never saw another Stars player do that
Yeah,
ever.
Never
well,
seen it.
like when I was growing up, I always had a really good character, determination. Like my dream was always to play in the NHL. And when it was time for me to go with the Dundee Stars, like it was the NHL lockout. And for me, I knew nothing about Europe. So for me, like when I started looking at my options, and I know that the NHL lockout would have really, really hurt myself as a goalie, with all the NHL goalies going to the AHL, AHL going to
Yeah,
ECHL, and I really wanted to also live a good family experience with Caroline, who was my girlfriend at the time. We've been together for only 1 year, and now we've been together for 11 years. I got
I know.
kids. So when I was going and decided to go to Dundee, my mindset was okay. Like it's gonna be a league where I need to showcase myself. It's gonna be a stepping stone for me down the road, and with the goal of coming back potentially in North America, and obviously going to the NHL. But my first experience really enjoyed that. So that's why like all the little details for me, like doing workouts after practice, after home or away games, doing my little cool down, stretchings, and all that stuff. Like,
Yeah,
and at the time, guys, like I think we need to be honest here. The UK league, the IEIHL, is right now, I think, 2 steps way more professional
Yeah.
than it used to be 5 and 10 years ago. So
yeah,
for me, like, and I won't lie, like the first weekend I get to play with the Stars. We go to a little tournament or round robin in Fife. So like not the sexiest. So I go there, and after Saturday's game, like we didn't play well. We've lost something like 4-1 against Edinburgh or something like that. And guys were opening up like beers and cheers, and I was like, "What the fuck am I doing here?" So,
yeah,
and I told Jeff Hutchin, if it's not more professional, like I'm packing my stuff and I'm gone. So, and I think he saw in my eyes and in my character that, hey, like I'm not coming here for having fun. Like obviously, yes, I'm having fun playing hockey, but I'm a pro. Like it's a pro league.
Exactly.
I'm a professional athlete. Like it's business to me, and I think that's why every day I was making sure to keep my focus and my head straight on like let's do the little things every day so that you can last all season long, have a good season, and maybe the following year playing in a better league with a better salary and better opportunity, which is exactly what happened. So.
I would totally agree.
Yeah, and like you said, and I don't know if you do this from an agent's point of view, but the Stars have always been like a stepping stone sort of club for players. You look at Bo, for example, and Gabe going over to Denmark onto bigger and better things. So to have that kind of professionalism around you, you need to have that to then move on to those bigger teams and better teams, and it's where the big money is.
Exactly, and I think it's just the Stars. It's a great organization and a great opportunity for a player that is having like a rough year to fall the previous year, or just looking for a better opportunity to really showcase themselves. Like the forward, they know they will play a top 6 or top 9 defenseman, top 4, and goalie. Like I still can remember when I talked with Jeff Hutchins. Like I really wanted to make sure that I would play some games, and as a number 1, he said, "Don't worry, you might play,
every game,
all of them." So, all of them.
Yeah.
So how many games? And he says 57. So, and I ended up playing 56 out of the 57 just because the last game, unfortunately, we were eliminated the game before, and I gave my backup and good friend Mark McGill his first game in the EIHL in his hometown in Edinburgh, and still to this day, sometimes he sent me a text with pictures of him and of us during our time in Dundee. So no, it was really special.
No, Gills is a good lad.
Mark, we still keep in touch with Mark and his family. And it was one thing I noticed. You and Mark, young Mark, got on really, really well together. Even like what you're saying, Mark only really played one game, but the two of you seem to be very, very close.
Yeah. Well, I think Mark, he was open-minded. He wanted to learn. He committed himself to be there, but like the biggest difference at first, like he knew he wasn't maybe going to be a number 1. But what I told Mark, I said, why don't you want to be the best backup goalie in the league? And who knows, maybe you're gonna have a better opportunity. But I also really wanted him to challenge myself. Like for me, I want to take pride to be the best goalie even in practice. Like I want to be that every day. So that's why I told Mark, like if you don't work or if you don't care, like for me, it doesn't push myself. Like, and if I have an okay practice, I know that I'm still gonna be the best goalie for practice. Like I want you to challenge me. And at first, like we started doing a goalie practice before practice, and doing some overtime. And he says, Nick, like I've been here for a long time, and I've never seen an import goalie doing goalie practice before a long practice, normally on a Wednesday when it's like a working day practice. But for me, it was just my standard. And that's a standard that I put on myself, but it also a standard that I can put to my clients as well right now.
Yeah. And I think the thing as well, you talk about the standard, and obviously coming over here, there was that kind of, as it would be called in the UK, pub league sort of thing. It's a beer league. But obviously you were drafted before you came here, by Philly, so you've got that background of I need to keep improving and improving and improving, so I can go and achieve the goals that I've set myself.
Yeah, exactly. And I remember when Jeff Hutchin kind of recruited me or signed me, like for me, like I didn't really look elite prospect or who do we had, and I just looked that we finished like maybe I don't know, like towards the end, not last, but in that category, and says not look like if you come, you will come here and you'll be our backbone, and we'll have a really good team. But I didn't know nothing about the big clubs like the Cardiff, the Nottingham, the Sheffield. So for me, it's like, okay, well, he wants me. I'm gonna play some games. I'm gonna live the family experience, and so there was only positive about that opportunity. So yes, I was young at 23, and that's what I remember the most. Like people or fans asking me after the game, like, "How come you decide to come here? Like you're only 23. Like how come you haven't waited until you're 28 or 29 or 30s? Like it's almost like a league where you come and having some fun before you retired." Which, like I said to you guys, 10 years ago, that was the mentality. But now as the year moves on, as you know, like I think the Nottingham Panthers have done a really good job at the CHL, the Champions League at some point. As Sheffield have done a good job as well at Cardiff. So I think now they are getting way more recognition, and also I think Dundee have done a really good job. Like especially let's say Omar Pasha that I've been dealing with for the past few years. Like he's been doing a really good job getting some player that has a really big potential, giving them a platform or opportunities on the ice, and when they do perform, well, they go and move on towards a better league, which by the end of his years in Dundee facilitated his recruitment. Just he had so many experience or so many example to showcase the new imports that hey, like come here, do like Anthony Beauregard, and then go back in the CHL, be an MVP, go make a big ton of money in Switzerland, and now he's first NHL camp with Montreal Canadiens. Like that's all the little things that he can bring to the table, and I think that's now. And the Ward family has been among the best owners in the whole league right now, and I think that's one of the major points why good imports wants to play in Dundee, because the new imports always speak with the former imports and see like how has it been, how is the league, how is the apartment, is the paychecks on time, like how's the owner, everything related to the outside of the ice is really important for players, because obviously like out of the 24 hours we have in a day, well, you might spend 80% of your time off the ice. So the off ice thing is really important, and I think that's why they've done such a really good job in the past few years recruiting good players.
And I think that's what happens, Nick. With a club like Dundee, we might see a player for 1 or 2 years, and then they move on. As you say, Bo done it. We had a guy, Charlie Combs, has done it. He's went away to Denmark, and they're big moves for these guys.
Yeah.
Previously, as you say, back 10 years ago or something, it was you were probably one of the youngest guys that come in, and then you're surprised. Guys are drinking beer after getting beat. Nowadays, we don't see that. And we look at it's younger guys that are coming in. And the younger guys, if I see Bo for a year and he moves on, I'm watching Bo now for the rest of his career. And I always like to say, same what we've said about yourself. We seen you. We saw you playing for Dundee. We saw Bo play for Dundee. This guy could be ready to go to the NHL. And he had 1 season in Dundee. See, for me, I look at it as a Dundee fan saying, we've helped these guys on their career path.
Yeah, exactly. It's kind of a part of the development, like you as an organization, fans, help develop the player for him to reach his full potential. And, like you never know, like not talking about like for me because I'm retired, but let's say a guy for Bo, well, let's say 5 years down the road, 4 years down the road, or when he's going to feel that he wants a safe place with his girlfriend. They might expect a family. Well, they might say, the best place that we've been in Europe or the past 10 years, it's in Dundee. Why not sign a 2-3 years contract there?
Yeah.
We're happy there. We're gonna have a family. And take another example. Client Gabriel Desjardins, who spent last season with his wife Isabel and their little daughter Emma. They had a blast. Everything was outstanding. Apartment when they arrived was A+. The view, the city, the fans, and that's what helped them reach another step, going to Søderhønske in Denmark, which is known to be really a good league, a good place to play. So, and they have only good things to say about their experience. So, you never know. It's the hockey world is a really small world, and there's always a player that knows a player that played in a team. So it goes a long way, even though you guys see a player maybe for 1 year, but it may be the reason why you see other players, good players or related, friends related, more years, So
Yeah, but to actually think back on that it was 10 years ago that we saw you play for us, and now even bigger
and
family.
He's never aged.
No,
it's horrendous
no.
how good looking Nick Riopel is still.
Yeah,
it's ridiculous.
Well, you need to tell my wife that.
But when you finished for the Stars, obviously, you had a couple years in Europe, and then back home, ECHL, AHL call-ups, and then even a call-up to Tampa Bay to wear the jersey. Just how did that moment feel for you? Just to eventually put the top on and say, you know what, I'm here.
Yeah, no, it was just incredible. And I remember actually, I was talking to about my wife a few moments ago, but she is the one that made me come back in North America, because after I played in Dundee, we had a great family experience. Her daughter, Kellyanne, who was 7 at the time, 6 at the time, now she's 16.
I know. Where did that time go?
She went to school in English. She learned to be bilingual, and even today, she helps the English teacher with the other student just because her English is top notch. Well, it's not from playing in France. It's from playing with the Dundee Stars. So it's something that she's always going to be thankful and grateful for. And after that, we went to Denmark. Chloe was born in Denmark, and a great family experience then. Then we went to France. Well, for every French Canadian playing in France, it's always special. It's English Canadian or an American playing in the UK. There's always that little special thing to it. So for us, to play in France was really good. And then it's when I realized that few of my former teammates or goalie that I used to play against in the QMJHL when I was major junior was making their NHL debut. Like Jake Allen, which I played against when he was in Drummondville. He made his debut with the St. Louis Blues, now in the Montreal Canadiens. Kevin Poulin was making his debut, with the Islanders, now playing in the Montreal Canadiens farm team. Louis Domingue, which I played with, started with Arizona. And for me, I was 25 years old, and I was scratching my head, and my wife said, why don't you go back? She said, you're still young. I said, well, we have a really good quality of life here in Europe, making way more money. And yes, I was an NHL draft pick, but once you're gone for 3 years and you want to come back, players have arrived, players have been drafted, and 4 goalies, well, there's only 6 in the organization. It's not like you can bring 12. So and by that time I started to represent myself. So I was communicating with teams, and I had an opportunity with Norfolk, but guys, I was making peanuts in terms of money, really not much. But I took on the challenge, and I had a really, really strong start this season. And I still started to communicate with team around after the holidays. And at one time, my coach asked me to bring me in his office. Look, Nick, have you communicated with few teams in the AHL? Because he knew I was representing myself. I said, well, just a few, but so far, like, nothing. He said, well, keep your phone close, because Julien Brisebois, assistant GM at the time of the Tampa Bay Lightning, will give you a call and will offer you an AHL contract. So I said, oh my God. So like kind of the part of my dream was becoming real. So I took on I took the phone call. We agreed on the AHL contract, which brought me another AHL contract with the NHL camp. And I did good, but I wasn't good enough.
Yeah.
Like I was with Andrei Vasilevsky, which one of the top or the best in the NHL. Ben Bishop, which at the time was still with the Tampa Bay Lightning. And Julien Brisebois and Steve Yzerman met with me at the camp. Said, Nick, what's your dream? I said, well, or what's your goal? It's to play in the NHL. Well, you need to be in better shape than either Bishop or Vasi. I said, well, okay.
Wow.
So, but you know how I was professional. So I took on the challenge. I bought myself a nutritionist, went to the gym twice a day, like made all the little sacrifices. And then my last NHL camp, I was 28 years old. I go there as outstanding camp, really, really good camp. And then they make the first cut just before the exhibition game started. So I thought I was going with the first cut, obviously with all those AHL players. And Steve Yzerman said, Nick, you've been better than few goalies here so far. So you deserve to be part of the lineup tomorrow against the Carolina Hurricanes at home in Tampa Bay. So, for me to be drafted in 2009 and then get an opportunity, almost 8 years after, they're going to Dundee, coming back in the ECHL and make my way up. It was just such a proud moment to go on the ice and in front of all the fans and look around and see that, hey, I kind of made it, I made it, I made my goal. And after that, I stayed with the team for one more week as a number 3 because they thought I deserved to be there. So, I flew private jets with the team to Nashville, to Florida, played against the Panthers. So it was just outstanding experience for me. And then by the end of the season, there's a trade that had to be involved with me, and I was traded out west. Was made really, really difficult for my family and I to see each other in the last season. We've seen each other only for 14 days, the whole season long. Wow. So that's why, and my agency was growing pretty well. And it was just, I had some, you guys know, but I was losing a lot of weight when I was in Dundee. So I was losing between 12 and 15 pounds a game. That's why, I always had a problem with hydration, and I was losing a lot of weight. So I got 2 times by the end of the season, went to the hospital, and the last time the doctor said, look, Nick, next time it happens, well, you might need a new kidney. So by that time, I just decided to pull the plug, and it was it.
Yeah.
It's it might. I'm just blown away with that. Just we're sitting here listening to somebody that went on and played with the Tampa Bay Lightning, and you're naming guys like Vasilevsky, Ben Bishop, and then you say you play with Louis Domingue, who's at the Penguins. These guys, it's just my mind is blown with this, honestly. And I know
any excuse to bring up Pittsburgh. Absolutely any excuse for this guy to bring up Pittsburgh.
It's you know what, we've always said it, Nick. We've known you for a long time now, really, since you were at Dundee. We only started this podcast last season, and it's just myself and Junior just sitting here talking a lot of nonsense. But we try and get guests on, and for me, this is the ultimate now. We've got somebody who has put the jersey on at the NHL, and they're on our Daft Wee podcast.
Yeah, well, thanks, guys. And it's always special when you, as a kid, like when you are able to, touch the NHL. Either like, and I know I haven't done the, the big career or the big NHL career, but last Friday I went to see Anthony Beauregard at the Montreal Canadiens main camp. And he was playing a game, and during a drill at some point, he was talking with the head coach Martin Saint Louis, who had he's a legend in the NHL, and Tony B was doing a drill with Brendan Gallagher, who's been there for 10 years, and he was passing the puck with Schladowski, the first overall pick of the last NHL draft. It's just special to see that, hey, he's come a long way. He went from East Coast, wanted to have an opportunity in Europe, and Omar Pasha decided to give him one, and then he was about to come back in Dundee. Pandemic hit, go back in the CHL, MVP, goes in Switzerland, making 6 times what he was making in the ECHL, and now has an opportunity to sign it for his hometown team, make his first NHL camp with the Montreal Canadiens. So he lives 40 minutes down the road. It's just sometimes it's you can't write it any better. So.
It's always funny to think about that the COVID season that didn't happen, certainly across here, and you think what would have happened for Tony had he came back to Dundee? Would he have went to the Montreal camp this year? It's we said it to him on the interview. We genuinely are very proud of him. We only had him for a year, but he's a Dundee guy. That it's like yourself. You were a Dundee guy, and like what Senior says, we followed him right the way through. But just talking about Agent Rio, how different is that from you're getting yourself psyched up for games and going and playing it and cooling down? Just how different is the agency side of things?
It's really different because I always was passionate about everything that was touching outside of the ice. As I told you guys, I was really professional. So, psychologist or nutritionist or, therapist, gyms, all that stuff. I was really passionate. But when I was young, obviously me being drafted in the NHL, I had big agencies, and I made a switch later on in my career for a bigger agency with many players in the NHL that thought could bring me some contacts or some contracts. And then I use one in Europe, and and when my at some point when I was in Dundee, I received a phone call from a guy named Etienne Lafleur, which is now my partner in the business in the agency Propulsion, who's a lawyer as well. And he always, he says, Nick, my dream was always to become an agent. And normally to become an agent, there's 2 normal paths. Either you're a former hockey player because you know the game and you know what's inside of the locker room and what's happening, or you're a lawyer. He said, because I wasn't skating really well, I decided to take the second option. So, and the first thing, guys, I said to Etienne was, if I do this, I want to represent the player the exact same way I would have liked to be represented. Yeah. And since this day again, that's my mojo. From Tony, from my guys at NHL camps, from my guys in midget who are just drafted in the QMJHL, from my guys from Gabriel Janin who played in Denmark, I give them the same importance. I give them the same time. I give them the same recognition. Because for me, no one is more important than other guys. It was really, really important. So yes, right now it's a little bit different. Still, it's still hockey. We're dealing with the business. So. And I just want the players to play, and I want them to perform. And on the other side, I will take care of the rest in terms of contract. So yes, obviously I do. I was always a big number guy, so I even about my stats. I was a big stats guy. So everything that touches number, I like it. I feel I'm really good at it. So I like to bring as much value as the player in terms of contract salary as possible, depending on their demand. But obviously, you're dealing in a different way. Like I'm watching a lot of games. I'm recruiting younger players. I'm sending guys to Europe. I need to know the level of Europe. So, and every summer I need to, find new contracts to about 25 to 30 players, which is a lot because for them, like there is the only player who matters. Like it's me, but for me, it's like, okay, I need to find a job to 25 to 30 guys with better money, sometimes bigger league. So it has some challenges, but I'm so passionate about it that for me, it's not a job.
Yeah. Well, you do know if you need any help in UK, we are available. If you need any support, we will travel up and down the country for you. It's not an issue.
Might be looking for some top-notch Brits who are playing for a national team here.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, one guy I'm keeping a lookout for is your guy Bernard in Ottawa's camp just now. I'm keeping a close eye on that one.
Every time I see your the logo there, I say, well, maybe he's gonna change his poster behind, and having a new poster. So
yeah, so if he makes it, we'll try and Senior will try and get a wee agreement with his agent here to get him on the show and maybe a little top sent over.
You never know. There's one guy that I've always looked out for, and again it's through yourself, Nick, is Mika Sear. Is that how you pronounce it? Mika Sear?
Mika Sear is I'm telling you guys, this guy's gonna play in Europe at some point. So I don't know where he's gonna end up.
Dundee.
He's so fast, so skills, high-end hockey IQ, and like right now he's finishing his MBA at the University of Moncton. He had a great career in the QMJHL, but he's a smart guy, outstanding person off the ice, low-key. So yes, he would be a good fit in Dundee at some point for sure.
He would, and also we have the university sponsorships as well. He could go and do his masters there. But the only thing for me, Nick, is just no more players to Fife. Okay, that's our only request from a Dundee point of view. No more players to Fife, please.
Well, it's and I'll be honest, guys. Sean Cameron, the player.
Oh, yes, we know.
Yes, we know. We found out.
The deal was made within 48 hours. So, Sean gave me a call. He's a good friend of, the Gregoire brother, like Jeremy, who's playing in Vienna in Austria, and Thomas, who's playing in Liga in Luco. And really, really good friend of both of them. And he wanted to make an agency switch or just see if there's another opportunity. And he called me like on a Friday. So I said, look, Sean, thanks, but man, I'm going on vacation in Wildwood with my wife, and she's gonna kill me if she sees me on the phone every day for the next 4 or 5 days. So I said, look, let's talk after my week in Wildwood, and let's see where we're at. Okay, that's good. And even at first, I said, if you have an opportunity to go with another agent at that time, I will understand. I don't want to hold you against me.
Yeah.
So I said, okay. And then on a Sunday, Jeff Hutchins texted me, says, Nick, do you have a good right-handed forward for us? So, man, I just jumped in the occasion and I sell them Sean. And the next morning, my wife said, okay, I'm going to go see the Dolphins with Chloe, the little one. I said, okay, I'm going to stay by the beach. And I took about an hour or two of my time by the beach, closing that deal, and the deal was done within the 48 hours.
Actually, pains me to say this, but he is a player.
Yeah, well,
he
he
is very good,
Yes.
very fast.
Yeah, well, no, he and for him, same thing. He just needed an opportunity because the past 2 seasons in North America, and you guys know more than anybody else, but the pandemic has really, really hurt a lot of players because, the pandemic years, he had an AHL contract with the St. Louis Blues farm team, and because there's an AHL team that shut down during the season, well, it was just mixed with too many players.
Yeah.
And he just needed an opportunity. He has a young family, a wife with their newborn, so he really wanted to live a family experience. So for me, it was just where would for him the best opportunity. Once again, I think the UK is the league of opportunity. If you do well there's a chance you can make the jump to Austria. There is a chance you can make the jump to Algesten, the second league in Sweden. There's a chance you can go to Norway. So, and I think for a family experience is just outstanding. And I know his wife has arrived a few days, and from what I see in her story, they seem to like it so far. So.
Yeah. But
going
final
back,
thing,
one final thing for me. You mentioned it at the start before Nick came on, right? Nick, you're a record breaker in Dundee.
Oh yeah, I forgot about this. I forgot I was going to ask this question.
Okay.
So Nick, you're one of 2 goalies in the Stars' history to ever receive a game misconduct.
Yeah.
Do you remember that game well?
I remember that timing really, really well. Really well. Oh my God! And actually, the goalie that started this was Ben Bounds, no?
Yes. That's it. Yeah, Ben Bounds.
Yeah. And to be honest, I think he was mad just because obviously I had a little technique of my own, which is when we are on the power play. And I know normally when my defenseman is behind the net, normally the forwards of the opposition goes and make a big loop, and normally the goalie is at the back of his net, and the forward is making a big loop towards the crease. But for me, I was always waiting for the forwards to come across, and then I was just making my feet turn. For me to, give me a obstruction, which would then give us a 5-on-3, and I think it happened like twice during the same game. And I know the other goalie was furious, but for me, like I was after the second period, I was going to the bench, but with my head down, looking at the ice, and I just saw the last minute Ben Bounds like putting me on my back, and I just. My stick was there.
Stick went up.
There, I just look at the opportunity, stopping him right away, and that's how
it was tremendous. But yeah, one of only 2 goalies in Stars history to receive a game misconduct. So you will always hold that a record there as well.
And when Bounds, he still gets it quite tight about that when he comes to Dundee. Nick.
We always remind them.
From the guys who still go back then till now, Bounds still gets it quite tight from the fans for that incident.
Well, that's good. I'm sure he remembers the situation as well, huh?
Oh yeah. He does now. We never let him forget. Put it that way.
But crazy thing happened in that year. I remember the Challenge Cup against Sheffield, and then we beat Sheffield had on 4-2, and then there was a big article the following day saying that during warm-up they will come after me and ref won't be able to protect me. And I remember they were literally making slap shot behind my legs during warm-ups, ref wasn't there. So I said, it's going to be a long game. And then guys were hitting me, guys were crushing me, it was just. And actually the head coach was Finner, Manchester. But since then, and at first I said fuck this guy, I always and time went by, and I just think it was I just thought, hey, if I'm the target, it's probably because I'm good. They wouldn't do this.
That's exactly what it was.
If I wasn't
exactly
in
what it was. But yeah, final message from yourself for Stars fans listening.
Well, I just wanted to say to them again, big thank you from me personally, from my wife, my family. I know I say it every time you guys invite me on podcast or interview, but my wife always say, like, if you do decide to go see your clients in Europe, we need to make a stop in Dundee. That's where that's the place I had the much more fun, pleasure. Kellyanne really remembers it again. But I just want the fans to know that they play a big part in a player making the decision whether they play in Dundee or another club. And I know every player will say that they have the best fans, but I truly mean it. Like, Dundee had really the best fans, and I have a lot of connection again that I'm keeping close today, as well as you guys. But every client that I've sent to Dundee since then always come back with the same message. The fans are just outstanding. They make my stay more easy. They make me feel like home. They make me feel like part of the family. And for a player who's going to live about 8 to 9 hours difference from home in a place that they don't know, and sometimes a language that they don't know, it feels just a relief when you know that you will get hundreds of people for who you're going to be able to count on. So once again, big thank you, and you guys playing a big part of the adventure that the imports player, especially my clients, go through when they go to Dundee.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, from us, Nick, it was an absolute privilege to one, watch you, and two, have you on here. We know how busy you are and how precious your time really is. So no, thank you so much for coming on. We really do appreciate it.
Perfect. Anytime, guys.
Thanks, Nick.
Okay,
right,
take care, Nick.
Much.
Thank
take
you.
Care. We'll be in touch soon enough, no doubt.
Yeah, best of luck this season, guys.
Thank you very much, Nick. Thank you. Yeah. Bye-bye.
So, Nick Riopel, everyone. What a
absolute
what
top
guy.
Man, eh?
What
absolute
guy.
Gentleman.
Yeah,
absolute gentleman. You can't say a bad word about the guy. Eh? You can't.
No,
he is just, even from the minute he joined Dundee until now, he has never changed.
No,
never changed.
And as you say, he's never aged. And it's Benjamin Button sitting there.
Fucking this man, not in every time we see him. Honest to God. God.
So let's
top boy,
top guy, top player, top agent. But let's move on. Let's speak about current Stars. So we had 2 games last weekend. Doubleheader against the Belfast Giants. So I'm having to come into this kind of mode now and discuss games rather than just speaking to our guest.
Yeah.
So Belfast Giants, a 5-4 loss in overtime. Scott Conway put them 1-0 up after 6:49. Roman Semyonovs at 13:04 tied the game. We then went 2-1 up with goals from Philippe Songe at 20:18. Equaliser from Belfast through Kieran Long. We then had a penalty shot from Elijah Barriga at 35:28 to go 3-2 up. I'm gonna call it David
Gilbert.
I'm saying Gilbert because it pisses me off the amount of times Belfast commentators cannot say people's names like Inglis.
I suppose,
does my nothing.
Yeah,
so 44-20.
Fuck him, David Gilbert.
David Gilbert, 44-20, tied the game. Philippe Songe, again, at 49-37. Another quick-fire goal for the answer for Belfast from Mark Cooper at 50:08. And then Gilbert with the game winner at 61-39. Larzo, a good point in Belfast, considering we were coming off a tough week the week before. We lost to Fife. the win in Glasgow, but then a pumping against Steelers. Coming in, I think I was fearing the worst, to be honest with you, but a great performance, a great point to pick up.
I did say that I thought we'd probably lose that game, and we'd have been happy if we split them. Obviously, it didn't transpire that way. But I would always take a point in Belfast. Always. If you take a point in Belfast, you've played really well.
Yeah. Some nice goals. Barriga's penalty shot as well was was just the casual skating. It was just like he just chipped it over his shoulder, just like, there you go. Thank you very much. I'll take that.
It's just that quick release, isn't it?
It didn't even look like a release. It was just like he just chipped the puck in.
Yeah. Really nice. Really nice.
But a good point on the road that it's guaranteed our qualification for the next round for the quarterfinals.
That line racking up points, certainly, and we've only played Challenge Cup, but that's a good sign that Barriga's really hit the ground running. You know, we know what we Sonche could do. And I think Semyonov's is the unsung guy on that line. Well, I didn't think he would fit in with these two guys, but he's fitted in really nicely with these guys.
It was one of the guys that, you know, he did get a bit. Well, he didn't get abuse, but it was questioned how good a player he was actually going to be production-wise, because he didn't score a lot of points. And obviously we had that conversation with Dowdy. He said that they're not going to put up big points in that league, but here they'll probably put up points. This guy's putting up points. Same with Hugo. Hugo's chipping in here and there with some points. So again, it goes to show that league. You know,
challenge
to say it, Dowdy was right.
And you know when you look at the stats, Barriga's the top point scorer in the Challenge Cup. Not just in the whole Challenge Cup. He is the top point scorer. I think Scott Conway's overtook him as the goal scorer, but for overall points, Barriga's top. And that's no fluke. He's a very talented player. When they announced his signing, a few guys got quite excited about it. And a lot of guys were also like, well, what's this guy going to do? What has he done? Oh, he's an NCAA champion twice, I think he was. So he must have something about him. And him and Sonch and Semyonov have really gelled together really nicely.
So going into that, coming off an overtime loss, a point in the Challenge Cup, guaranteed our qualification. It was then all eyes on the Sunday game against Belfast again for potentially, you know, if we'd won in regulation, we'd won the group. So again, Mr. Gilbert at 30-31 gave Belfast a 1-0 lead, which I thought was, you know, I think it was at that time, I think it was against the run of play a little bit, but it was more end to end. Sonche picked up another goal, assist from Folk and my boy Matt Cowlett at 31-59 on the power play. And then obviously 3 goals within the last 9 and a bit minutes of the game. David Goodwin on the power play at 51-34. Scott Conway on the power play at 56-29. And then I have to admit, the 4th goal, Scott Conway again at 57-04. What a finish that was. Just top a little players, but top 3 goals.
When you look back at that screen that you put up there, right? Mark Cooper. Now he was the guy that buried us at Nottingham in the playoffs.
Yes.
0 plus
he never
3.
Played for Nottingham.
0 plus 3
hit.
Against us. Right. He assisted on goals 2, 3, and 4. He done fuck all. He was never in again.
And I'm pretty sure the night before, that was just a goal the night before.
Just a goal the night before.
But
honestly, but that's what these guys do.
They turn up out of nowhere, and you've got a couple of assists here and there.
You cannot give teams like that chances like what we did.
No.
At 1-1, it was, and I turned around to Mike and I says to him, "This could be next goal, the winner."
It definitely was going to be one of those games.
And my honest opinion, I felt gutted, absolutely gutted for these guys. because we should not. It was never a 4-1 game. At bare minimum, they deserved overtime again.
Yeah.
They deserved overtime. And if we'd taken the point and Belfast had won 2-1, you'd went, it's overtime. And then happens. And we'd have come out of there happy. 2 mistakes cost us.
Yeah, so the delay game, clean win on the face-off, and then
it's probably been one of the cleanest face-offs Howlett's probably won in his life. Yeah. It was so clean, it was unbelievable.
Yeah, and then it chipped over the plexi and scored. I am gonna, he's gave the second penalty, and I believe both penalties was Colin Joe. The second penalty, I'm going to have a little bit of a disagreement with the officiating on this one. So it's probably a penalty, no doubt about it.
Yeah, totally agree.
However, seconds before it, in front of the goal, there is a blatant cross-check, and I think it was on Sonch. I think he went right through the back as a cross-check in the back, and I think it was Toby actually that called it, and he's looking right at it. No call, goes to the board, the same thing, and then the penalty's called. And it's the question comes back to the big team cannot not win the group. The wee team cannot win that group. The big team's got to win it.
Yeah.
Just for me.
See, when I look at it, right, and you're right, I think there was a penalty in front of the goal that should have been called. And it wasn't a call, right? So fair enough, it's not being called. The play goes behind the goal, and there's a wee bit of stramash again. And you could probably pick out maybe a penalty there as well. And that wasn't called.
Yeah.
And then Colin Joe comes in, and he gets the cross-check.
Yeah.
And it's a penalty, and they call it.
And it was actually called for boarding.
And that's the one that gets me. If you're not going to call the other two, don't call the third one. Let it go.
Yeah. So a question for you.
I'm not saying it's wrong that the penalty you called was correct. It is the correct call. But it's why was the other penalties not called then?
Yeah. Question for you. Now, I don't know, and any viewers listening to this, sink in that, and I'll probably, when they listen to this, they might be able to answer it, right? So there was a boarding call called against someone last weekend for Stars, okay? I can't remember who it was. It was a boarding call called. However, he hit him straight on. It was face-to-face. It wasn't on the numbers. It was face-to-face. He was looking. The guy was looking at him.
Oh, was it no Carter Folk?
It might have been Carter Folk. And he's just hit him square on. I thought boarding could only be if it was on the numbers.
It was on the numbers. Yeah.
That's what I thought the board. If there maybe is another call in there. There maybe is an interference call or a cross-check or something. But I didn't think you could call boarding if it's not on the numbers. Just interested to know. Gregor Misen listens into this. So, Gregor, you could give a wee update on that one, Mr. X-Lino. But speaking of penalties, I'm going to go back to these stramashes that you mentioned.
Yeah.
The stramash that happened after Dryden shot the puck. 100% a penalty on Dow for unsportsmanlike conduct. 100%.
Yep.
Okay? Yep. Well after the whistle.
Yeah. Good though.
Oh, fuck yeah. Soy then comes in.
Yep.
And Lake then jumps in. And Rain then jumps in.
Yeah. So Dryden's penalty is correct.
Yep.
Soy's penalty is correct.
And that is the altercation. Now, this is where it comes back to the Kyle Haas thing of last season.
Yeah.
Of there's an altercation between two players.
Yeah.
So it happened with Charlie Combs down at the benches. There was an altercation on the ice. Yeah. Kyle came in and got kicked out for third man in. So either Ben Lake or Kevin Rain is the third man in. Yeah. And it happened twice in that same game.
Yeah.
So where's the third man in call? I read somewhere, and I don't know if it was someone being sarcastic or pedantic, but someone said, there's no third man in penalty anymore. I'm hoping it was a sarcastic comment because surely third man is still a fucking thing.
So Lake should have got third man and Rain should have got fourth man.
Well, you can't have you don't have a fourth man, but
no, but you can't. I'm saying so. The two of them.
Yeah, I don't know who was
But
in
there should have
first. I
been
can't
at
remember
least
who was in
some
first.
penalties.
Someone
But there
else should have been kicked out.
Yes, yeah. It should never have been either
Yeah.
4-on-4 or 5-on-5. We should have came out with
4-on-4
a
it was. Yeah, 4-on-4.
Yeah.
It wasn't coincidental, so it was 4-on-4, which is the first time they've actually ever done that right in Dundee, by the way. 2 separate penalties and they've played 4-on-4. Remember, Pavel did it last season and played 5-on-5. Good job.
Yeah.
But
so no, I totally agree with you. Dow's penalty is correct. Soy's penalty is correct. Where's the afters?
You know what? It really irritated
I'm telling
me.
you, it's. I've said it. We all said it last year. It depends on the name on the back of the jersey.
It also depends on the name on the front of the jersey. That's Dundee that does that. There's a player kicked out. If that's Fife, players kicked out. Manchester, players kicked out. Belfast, Sheffield, Nottingham, Cardiff, none of them get kicked out.
Yeah.
I said at the start of the season in one of the preseason games, I said it at the start as well. And listen, I'm all for calling out referees like Ferguson for being brutal, but that really irked me at the weekend, and it showed the inconsistencies on reffing. It really did.
Yeah.
Because Kyle Haas, he's out of the game for that. Straight away.
Yeah.
Straight away.
Yeah. Totally agree with you. And then, speaking of Kevin Rain, what a hit he put on Ryan. What an absolute belter of a hit he put on Ryan Verrier.
You know what? A lot of the fans were complaining about the hit. I said at the time, it was nothing but clean. Sheepdog actually thought there was a couple of strides to get to the hit, so it could have been called charging.
Maybe.
Possibly, but looking at it real time, I thought that was a clean hit.
But I'll tell you, kudos to Ryan Verrier. He just got up and skated back to the bench. Surprisingly. And again, though, and I know we keep speaking about Kyle Haas, right? Now, this is no me touting we should get Kyle Haas back. What I'm saying is, this is where I think we lack just that bit of toughness. Because if we've got a Kyle Haas type of player there, right? Yeah. Kevin Rain doesn't throw that hit.
No.
He didn't do it last year.
Or Kevin Rain doesn't throw about the 4 or 5 hits he threw in that game, because he threw one on Semyonovs that put him out injured as well.
Yeah.
Again, it was a clean hit. There's nothing wrong with the hit. It's just it was a hard hit. But
I like Kevin Rain. I think Kevin Rain is a top D-man in this league.
Yeah.
And every team in the country would have him in their team. He is a top D-man.
He's an ugly fucker, though.
Oh, he's an ugly fucker. He's better when he had long hair.
I know. He looks, you know, he reminds me of something. You know what he reminds me of? He reminds me of the people on I Am Legend.
Oh, right,
the skinheads. That's who his face reminds me of. He's got that really white face with the kind of sunken eyes and the bald head. He looks like a guy out I Am Legend. Yeah. Maybe he's going to be in the new film. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe he got a part in it.
But somebody should have planted him on his ass for it. And I'm no advocate, right? It's a clean hit. I'm not expecting any, really. But
somebody answers for it.
Somebody has to answer for it.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah. So speaking of toughness,
4-1. Right, go on then.
Sorry, I was just about to move on, but continue with yourself.
I was just going to say 4-1. Got to win a comeback game. Did
not
deserve that at all.
No, if anything, I think we deserved at least 2 points out of the 4 over the weekend. And you know what? It was Challenge Cup. We had already qualified. You know, would it have been great to win the league, win that group? Aye, without a doubt. But you know, it was good team performance, I still think. Just a couple of stupid penalties towards the end, which absolutely killed it. But yeah, speaking of toughness, we're going to need to be tough on tomorrow night, because we're recording this Thursday. Tomorrow night. So our preview, Nottingham Panthers, first time this season against former coach, GM Omar Pasha's team.
We're going to need to be tough both of these games.
Yeah.
This is a tough weekend now.
Yeah, Manchester, I wouldn't say as much toughness, but I mean, like, you got to think about what Panthers are bringing, and guys like Gagnon, you know, we're going to have to be tough and stick up for ourselves here.
Or fast.
Or quick, but you'll not catch you.
You'll not catch you. That's for sure.
Kyle Haas said it. He's the toughest guy he's ever played against.
Yeah.
But yeah, so
yeah.
Panthers and Storm. Storm are a bit inconsistent. I think they're a bit like us just now. They're still trying to find their way this season. They've had some good wins. They've had some hide-ins. Nottingham again as well. Some good wins, some hide-ins. I think
they've disappointed me, and I hope on Friday night they disappoint me as well. Nottingham.
Oh God, I know.
I actually thought, and it's early doors yet. Let's be honest, but I thought they'd have been blowing teams away, and I'm really surprised that they've not.
Yeah,
and I hope it continues like that. Obviously, but it's going to be a really, really tough game for us. If we get a point out of that, I'll be happy.
You know, I was going to say something there, and it was about Rio's guy at Nottingham, but I'm not going to say it because I don't want to jinx it, so I'm not going to say anything. I'll maybe say it at the ring. I'll say it at the ring on Saturday if we get anything out of the game. But
I think you're speaking about the goalie.
Yes, I'm not going to say anything yet.
I'll say it. I don't care. Top goalie, we follow a lot of next clients.
But what I was going to say, I'm not going to say it because I'm not saying it. I'm not saying it. He's meant to be a top goalie.
He might not play.
He will. He'll play. He'll play. They need to get winning properly again. They beat Sheffield at the weekend, but they were losing games before it, so they need to get him some winnings in a row and get his confidence going, I think. But Panthers, if we can come out with a point at least, I'll take it. It's going to be a really tough game. Manchester, for me, is a must-win already to get our season started in the league and try and keep them without picking up as many points as possible. Because I think they're like us. When they're at home, they'll give the big teams a game. When they're away from home, it could be hit or miss.
Yeah.
And I think we need to limit how many points they pick up against us. And obviously us beating Fife and Glasgow, with them maybe picking up the points against Manchester to keep them further down or splitting it. So 3 points is hopeful.
3 points.
3
points is hopeful.
2 points is the minimum, I think.
Definitely. And again, for the fans, if you're going to win the game, you win the Manchester game at home.
Yeah, you didn't want Manchester picking up any points.
No. I think this season Panthers will be, and this is going to sound really bad, but I think Panthers will be further away from us this year than what they were last year.
Mm-hmm.
Where Manchester
will still be. I think
will still be in about us.
Yeah, the gap between 4th and 5th this year, I think, will increase again.
I think it'll be big.
You'll have your top 4 and you'll have your bottom 6. So how many teams in the league? It's a 10 teams in the league.
10.
So
Yeah.
I had to think about that there. See how many teams are actually going to be in it and future teams will be. But so I think
it's going to be an interesting weekend anyway, that's for sure.
Yeah, no, it is. Like I say, 2 points minimum. But hopefully, come Saturday, we're guys are up for it. Coming off
first league win on the board.
Yeah, coming out. Hopefully, maybe a good performance on the Friday. Guys are rare and ready to go. Hopefully, maybe a couple extra bodies back in the lineup. But obviously, Semyonov's took up that knock. Chris out, Soki out, Garrigan out. I saw on Facebook potentially Barriga's out.
Yeah,
don't know. So
I've also seen on Facebook potential reinforcements coming in.
Yeah, I've read that a couple of times now. Obviously,
we'll
Jeff mentioned it in a press conference. A fan posted it from the sponsors' lunch today. The lunch thing that happened today or yesterday, whenever it was, that it was mentioned again that they're hoping to bring in reinforcements. And again, like we said, it's something that we've done in the past. We did it last year. We brought Ozils in. When we needed another body in, we've done it years gone by. Jack McClellan, God, I'm trying to think of names off the top of my head now, and there's Quinn O'Brien last year, Quinn O'Brien and Ozils, we ran with that one extra import after the injuries, so
just to cover the injuries,
But hopefully we do get reinforcements in.
I hope so. Especially if some guys are going to be medium or long term now.
Yeah. But fingers crossed we're able
Yeah.
to speak about our first league win of the season next week. Larzo, behave yourself.
I will do. I will
All
do.
right.
I'm still buzzing that Nick was on. That was it.
He's more happy with
and
it. Nick's on this one than Dowdy.
I was just going to say that. If Dowdy's listening, Dowdy, you are a wee dick because Riopel has overtook you now, boy.
But again, there you go, folks. There is your Nick Riopel interview. I know so many we were asking about it. Billy McGuinness is going to be absolutely ecstatic. He loved Riopel when he was here.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's your interview. There's your previews and your reviews. We'll see you on Saturday, and hopefully, and again, as I said, next week, we're sitting here talking about our first league win of the season.
Yeah.
So have a good weekend and a good week.
And
we'll see you on Saturday.
See you after.